Now, I think it's pretty apparent at this point that it's not just Disney who follows their DEI agenda, but it's also among other studios within the Hollywood bubble, within the film industry, that really is enhancing their efforts to really follow up with DEI in various, TV projects, film projects, whatever have you, from 2025 moving onwards, and why it's not looking good for the rest of this decade to begin with. Now, there are some exceptions, obviously. Some studios are beginning to follow a better path, but for the most part, Hollywood, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, is in shambles. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, HBO, we know that they are another studio that follows that same DEI agenda, if not worse than Disney does at the current state. Based on what they have done with Velma Season 1 and how they are doubling down with Velma Season 2 and what they did with Looney Tunes to begin with on HBO Max, it is not looking good at all. Now, we know that Mindy Kaling, the voice actress of the Velma character in this race-swapped version of the character in the upcoming Season 2, which, by the way, is about to debut on April 25th, just a little heads up there. But interestingly enough, we know that HBO is another example, much like Disney, that they don't care about the fans of, in this case, Scooby-Doo. They don't care about any level of fan backlash. That is obviously the majority and not the minority. And once again, people like Mindy Kaling and different executives over at HBO always blame a specific loud portion of the minority of fans. Now, focusing on all of this, with many studios now following Disney's DEI agenda and what they have been focused on, that's only been destroying many valuable properties and brands. One major development now has much to do with actress Mindy Kaling of the Velma series and what she recently had to say about the entire backlash related to the second season of Velma. She delivered the following: I just think it's ridiculous how Scooby-Doo fans are acting in such a childish way with a series that is only aiming to make the world a better place by supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. Toxic fans tend to make up slang words for what fits their narrative, like race swapping or gender swapping, and as a comedian, I think it's quite hysterical how some of these fans remain very entitled like that to make up such slang words. This is a series where I think the toxic side of the fans of Scooby-Doo should really keep quiet and not let any of their biased opinions from spilling into the void, because it only ruins the experience of others that obviously love the series through and through. I don't see this series as changing different characters catered to race. I don't see that at all. All I see is a simple design change for those like Velma, Shaggy, and among others that we hope to do in the future. It has been an honor working with HBO on this show that supported Velma's design change in this way. I just think it's horrible how fans get so upset over an animated series. Like, get for real, guys, it doesn't impact anybody's lives. What HBO is doing, and something I am rooting for, is to create something for new fans, or fans that are open to change, to the modern world, especially with the Velma series. I am proud to be a part of Season 2 that takes the steps even further for supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a wonderful experience, and I so hope that we get the chance to do a Season 3. Heck, I have been asking and begging for Shaggy to get his own series on a standalone show, and if he does, I think we can assume the same toxic demographic will continue to make unnecessary noise that only gets in the way. All I ask from everyone is to let the product speak for itself, and I know this is how executives talk with their products, but it's real. We need to follow what works and what doesn't, and obviously HBO felt that we had garnered enough fans to move forward with the Season 2. Which is why I'm confident that we will make it with a third one. I ask everyone who looks forward to Velma to not listen to the loud minority that seemingly remains in fear of change and frightened over DEI. DEI is something that really makes film and television an even greater experience because it allows us to open up to so many other people around the world that can relate to these characters. Fans of Scooby-Doo obviously have no clue what they are talking about when it involves the Velma series. They should be focused on the story and the dialogue that our creative team put together for our audience. Now guys, let me just pause here before I move on about what Mindy Kaling is spewing here with the Velma series Season 2. Now, like I said earlier in this video, Season 2 debuts on April 25th. We got just a couple of more days to go until this disaster hits HBO Max, and it is not going to show any level, in my opinion, of getting better or satisfying those that may have, of course, tuned into the show and just tuned out afterward. I think, if anything, it's going to be worse than Season 1, because not only are they doubling down on a Season 2 just by putting it into existence, but they're also doubling down on the agenda, the message, whatever have you, right? Everything related to DEI. And that really is not a good sign at all, because I would not doubt that they would actually move forward with the Season 3 regardless of this failing epically. Now, again, we know that this is all about an agenda. It doesn't seem like that they care, because it's HBO Max, it's a streaming service. Of course, the ratings are going to be garbage, but at the end of the day, HBO knows people go on to Max to watch other things. It's not just catered to Velma, so they feel that they're not going to lose a lot of subscribers. That's the overall thought process and why they're moving onwards with a Season 2, essentially. Now, again, alright, moving to the next thing here, she goes on to conclude, I am proud to say that HBO won't be stopping with the Velma series, as they hope to provide different experiences, just like this with other animated projects that will support DEI to a greater level. This show is not just about DEI though, but it's also about how we support other communities that will be addressed in Season 2. Alright, so number one, how many times did she have to say DEI? It was quite repetitive, to be honest, but when you look at Mindy Kaling, she's obviously getting very defensive over the backlash, and rightfully so. People have a full, valid reason to be against this series. And look, we always have actresses like this that say, get over it, or keep quiet and don't let your opinion get out into the open or into the general public. They want you to remain silent, and that's what it's all about. They don't want people speaking their opinion to quote-unquote ruin the experience for those that are very few, by the way, that want to support a show like this. Now again, if they do move forward with the Season 3, you know, shame on HBO, shame on the HBO Max streaming service, because you're only hurting yourselves at that point. Now, the Velma series, alright, on April 25th with the Season 2 debut, I think what it's gonna do is basically it's gonna create an even bigger uproar from fans of what's been around for multiple decades. These characters, right? Shaggy, Velma, Fred, among others in there. And it only brings you to the realization that HBO, if anything, are worse than Disney, because they're not moving on from a failure. They keep on doubling down even further. So overall, I really am just sickened to see what this has become. You know, this overall move by Hollywood to just keeping on with their DEI agenda that's not helping anything. So overall, guys, you know, let me know what you have to say about all this below in the comments related to the Velma series Season 2. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.